Oh my God, I've had such a breakthrough and I can't wait to share this with you. I was spiraling like crazy over nothing. I knew it intellectually that why am I spiraling like this? And yet I could not get my head into an equanimous space. I mean, spiraling to such an extent that no box breathing helps, no nervous system regulation tips help. If you go through that, you've been through that, you are going through that, I really hope this helps. I've discovered this and it was a major breakthrough. Hi, I'm Nidhi. I'm a mindset and law of assumption coach. We talk all things conscious creation on this channel. So back to spiraling thoughts and what do we do at that moment? You know what? If you have a great tool, any moment of adversity can actually be your blessing, right? Never let a good crisis go waste. We've all heard of that. And so whenever you spiral, if you can have that awareness that this is amazing, all the filth which is deep inside is actually surfacing, it is an opportunity for us to let it go for good. And it may not happen overnight, but slowly and steadily, once you become aware of it, you can every day start releasing, bits of it. And that itself will make you feel so light and help you breathe. So, number one, if you are going through a very tough spiraling phase, and I'm calling it a tough spiraling phase because, it so depends on the mindset of the individual, right? Sometimes, I mean, such hopeless things, such terrible things happen to folks, and they have a great mindset and they're able to steer themselves in a very healthy way out of that situation. And sometimes practically nothing is happening and we're spiraling like we're almost going to die. So I get you. I will help you understand this tool with the help of an example. But first, let me just tell you what this tool is, and that's going to shock the hell out of you. But trust me, if you do this, I will await to hear in the comments, what happened to you, right? So anytime you're spiraling, sit quietly, have some silence, no disturbance. Sit with yourself if need be. Close your eyes, stand in the balcony, have a cup of coffee, go to a coffee shop, go for a long walk. Ask yourself this very simple question: why do I want to feel like this? You'll be like, what? I do not want to feel like this, which is exactly why I'm calling it spiraling. I do not want to feel like this, so I'm trying to avoid it and resist it. So it's growing in size, and I'm just feeling more and more terrible and anxious and restless. So I do not want to feel it. You actually want to feel it. When I say you, it is your old identity. So ask yourself this question in good faith: why do I want to feel this way? Or another way, if this resonates better, is what is my secondary gain in this situation? So either ask yourself, why do I want to feel like this? Or what is my secondary gain in this situation? And trust me, you want to feel like this. When I say you, let me elaborate. It's your old identity, which wants to perpetuate itself by making you think like the way you have been, conditioned to feel, think, react. So even if something has happened or not, which is in alignment with these spiraling negative thoughts, it will project the old conditionings. And the old may not be just one situation, it could be years of garbage, it could be years of negative experiences or perceived negative experiences. Finally, everything is a point of view, everything is our lens and our perception. So let's say our perception has been very negative, and so all these experiences have been negative. All of this could be childhood trauma. And when I say childhood, of course, I'm talking about the impressionable years till 7. But I also, read that our prefrontal cortex is not fully developed till the age of 25. So our brain is not fully developed till 25. So we're very vulnerable. We've still not really walked into adulthood with great confidence and wisdom, right? So all those traumas of all those years when we were really not equipped to respond in the right way, we've been reacting, and the only reaction has been to protect ourselves, to help us survive. And so this identity, this character developed itself, which has its sole job is to always try to predict, control, think not 5 steps, sometimes 500 steps ahead of its time, which is, it sounds ridiculous. But look into your life. Do you do that? All the worrying and the worst case scenarios, what is that? Is that really being practical? Is that just a pragmatic approach to life? Or is it just you planning? I mean, why can't you for once also be prepared for something good that can happen in your life? So, this old identity is projecting the past characteristics of itself into this new situation. And the reason is it wants to keep you in the familiar zone. So it has to perpetuate itself, it has to make you rehearse these feelings and emotions every now and then. Because guess what? If you do not feel that anxiety for a very long time, if you do not feel, the way you felt anxious when you were 15, if you do not feel at 25 and 35, oh my God, that very important characteristic which gave you the anxiety, and so it spiked the cortisol and the adrenaline and made you react and do something quickly. You may lose that ability according to this old identity. I'm just trying to, add vocabulary to, so that you understand better. So, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to impress upon is that please understand and trust me that when you're spiraling, the old identity wants, the only reason is the old identity wants you to feel this very familiar emotions. And if you still have an iota of doubt, also answer this question to me. Type this in the comments. Whenever you're spiraling, is this an original emotion, an emotion that you've never, ever, ever felt in your life? Or is it a very familiar emotion, familiar negative emotion? Tell me, have you never, I mean, you would have felt it for n number of times, right? So, first of all, when you're spiraling, it is because you want to come to terms with this, that you want to feel like that. There is some secondary gain in it. And number two is that it's a great opportunity for us to finally let it go, let it pass, so that we're free of these reactivities. So now, when you are spiraling, whenever you're spiraling, find yourself some solo time where you're not disturbed and keep asking you this question: why do I want to feel like this? Or what is my secondary gain out of it? And an answer will arrive. And you might want to keep digging, keep asking this question 4-5 times till the time you get to the bottom of it, right? Otherwise, spiraling is like a bottomless pit. It's like a wild goose chase, right? Where are we heading with all the spiraling? You often spiral for days, weeks, and you keep thinking that if I can only think so much more, if I can just spend half an hour more with this garbage, I will reach to some enlightened solution, and you never actually reach that point. So it's a bottomless pit. Do not pursue this. Instead, get straight with yourself, take full accountability that it's happening all because of your experiences, and you are the master of your life and you can change it. Now, let me also make it very, very clear with an example that I went through, and it was such a breakthrough moment. Okay, so stay tuned, understand from this example, and by the end of it, I will also tell you what do you do once you've really had that floodlight moment, that floodlight which cuts through the darkness almost like daylight, when you can see through your own garbage, right? When you rise up in your consciousness, what do you do to, because like I said, deep conditioned beliefs may not leave you instantly. So here is the example. Here is what happened. So, I'm also a career zigzagger, a little bit about me, not going into deep about it, but, I've been a TV personality. I was in corporate sales. I was an entrepreneur for almost a decade. So I had to fold one of my startups because of, misaligned stakeholders. And I do not want to blame anyone, or I do not mean disrespect to anyone. I take full accountability of my life, and I know that I attracted them into my life, and I'm so grateful that they taught me some lessons, very painful lessons, but I had to learn these lessons, right? So these stakeholders who were very passive, who I thought would be visionaries, would be very inspiring leaders, and would really help me in my difficult times. And I will not be a lone warrior, right? So that was my belief. So you can see a lot of times you think you believe something, but your underlying actions are from your deep subconscious, which is governed by that old identity. So hear me out. In the same breath as these stakeholders are also some vendors who've been very, very important in running startups, but often these vendors would act in a way which would give me a lot of anxiety because these vendors will handle very important tasks which I am not qualified for. If you're a CEO or a founder, you have to rely on your army, right? Your very trustworthy people, because you cannot be a company secretary and a chartered accountant and a marketeer and everything by yourself. So these vendors would take care of very critical tasks for my startup, and I was a first time founder. So obviously, I've not studied these subjects for 5, 6 years of my life. And so I'm relying on them. And by the way, if they do not take care of these, there could be penalties, there could be very adverse situations, and my intention is very clean, right? That I want to do everything the right way. But these stakeholders, I would bump into stakeholders which were misaligned. And so one night I was having this very deep spiraling moment, and it had been happening for a very long time, like few days. And I was just so helpless, and I was feeling like, what do I do? So no box breathing was helping me, no journaling was helping me. I was still going in this rigmarole of I don't know what, and I didn't even know what was the problem and what was the solution I was seeking. Do you resonate with this? So sometimes we spiral so bad that we don't know what is the problem and what is the solution, and what do I want to do? What is the ideal solution, right? Or is there a problem at all, or is it all my projection? Do I need to take action or no action? So it was just making it more and more confusing. And I had this feeling that I have another friend who's an entrepreneur in the healing space. So I said, let me take my chance and share with him, and he will anyway understand because he's a chartered accountant and he'll understand, my fears. And he gave me this tool, and I kept asking. I had the same reaction as perhaps you did, most likely you did, that, but I do not want to feel like this. This is not fun. This is very painful. But something inside me clicked, and I said, okay, let me stay with this question. And I kept asking this question one time, twice, thrice. Why do I want to feel like this? Why do I want to feel? And when I say feel like this, what is it? So I realized the feelings, if I had to label them, they were powerlessness, feelings of being trapped. And why do I want to feel like this? What is my secondary gain? I kept asking, and the answer that came was, oh my God, such a big moment for me. I realized I'm addicted to taking everyone's load. Yes, I'm addicted to taking everyone's load, which will make me feel powerless and trapped. It's an infinite loop and a vicious one that I want to feel trapped and powerless. So I will take everyone's load, or I will take everyone's load to feel trapped and powerless. And why it happened, of course, I went to my childhood experiences and where did I pick up all of this, and I understand that. But I was not an adult and had to go through some tough times, like staying with a relative and they were very mean to me. And, I sort of had a Cinderella household, I think all of them were great teachers, but those years were very painful for me. And I felt trapped and powerless like a child would. And I would try to take everyone's load so that, they are more kind, they're kinder to me. So, there were many, many experiences from my childhood. I don't want to go into that. But can you see that this spiraling moment, which happened with my vendors and, especially with this vendor, I realized it's nothing to do with the vendor. It's nothing to do with the vendor. If I am addicted, if this program, this software is there inside me that I want to feel trapped and powerless, or I want to take everyone's load, then I will manufacture such situations. Even if the vendor is very, very cooperative, I will do things which are stupid and may not get me the desired responses from them, and I will have an opportunity to now go and say, I have to do their work as well. No one does their job well. Look, I feel trapped and powerless, all of that. So please do that with yourself and see if you have a breakthrough moment, a floodlight awareness moment. And you know what? Later, to help myself heal and come out of it, I wrote a prayer. Let me read that prayer out to you. And when I wrote that prayer, I was feeling like I don't know how many tons of weight is getting lifted off my chest. And I'm not saying that next morning, yeah, next morning I did feel very light. I slept very, very well, but it came back again. But every time it came back now, when I had the tool, it's like the appropriate medicine for that illness, it just works. So this prayer becomes that medicine. You're not randomly hitting at this trauma or this old identity with some, you're not hitting flu with the medicine for malaria. It will not work. So this prayer is the antidote that I wrote, and it works magically well. And just in a couple of weeks, the vendor, in one way or the other, one, I've become very positive and my work is flowing. I am not hitting any obstacles. So that's a great, great improvement. Now, let me read that prayer for you. So here is the prayer. Dear universe, dear Father, I have already released and unloaded all the baggage that was never mine to carry. I have handed it over to you, and I trust that you have taken loving and perfect care of these tasks and your children. I have surrendered myself completely, and I have detached from all goals and responsibilities that are not mine. I have allowed others to be fully responsible for their own tasks and their own housekeeping. I am free, I am light, and I am aligned with what is truly mine. I hope you will write a prayer for yourself, which is an antidote to that anxiety. And every time you read that prayer, what will happen is the intensity of that spiraling situation will reduce. Also, what will reduce is the duration of the spiraling, the time, right? So if you were spiraling, let's say for 4 hours, each time, each spiraling event now might be an hour, right? An hour is very bad, but it's much better than 4 hours. And then it'll come back. If you were spiraling every time such an event would happen, now you would be aware and you will not react. And because you're not reacting, you're able to see clearly. Now you're responding. So you're avoiding yourself an evidence that, look, I was right. I was right. I'm not worthy. I have to do everyone's work. So write that prayer for you. If it is not very private, please put that prayer in the comments. It'll be such a nice thing to read everyone's prayer, and I'll feel so, so good. So thank you for watching, and I really hope this helped you.